Hello again, everybody. I'm Snapper Lancaster, welcoming you to another edition of the Central Alabama High School Sports Show. We've got one of the outstanding coaches here in the Birmingham-Jefferson County area, whose team is having a very good football season, one of the top teams in classification 6A, and we'll be talking with him and some of his players in the second half of the show. As we get the show started tonight, we want to talk about the fact that it's, of course, football season's in high gear. We're into the second half of the season. But just to give you an idea of how good the players and coaches are here in the Birmingham area, in 7A, Class 7A, Central of Phoenix City is number 1 in the state, number 2, Hoover, number 3, Thompson, number 4, Hewitt-Trussville, number 8, Spain Park, and number 9, Mountain Brook. Folks, that just lets you know there is a lot of good high school football in Class 7A played here in Birmingham. In Class 6A, Austin and Decatur is number 1, Pinson Valley is number 3, Homewood number 6, Ramsey number 8. And you get into 5A, the number 1 team in the state is Briarwood Christian. Of course, we just had Coach Yancey and some of his players on a couple of weeks or so ago. They still going strong, number 1 in the state. And number 5 is Winona. In Class 4A, Andalusia is number 1, but Leeds is number 5. And finally, in Class 3A, Mobile Christian's number 1, Fultondale is number 9. That's 12 schools in the Birmingham-Jefferson County area. And we got outstanding volleyball teams here in the Birmingham area, and a lot of those players are doing really well, and there should be a lot of teams here in the Birmingham area do well when they get to the state playoffs. So once again, a big show lined up for you tonight. We'll have our first guest in a few moments. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
The community features a world-class resort and spa, the amazing Robert Trent Jones Trail Golf Course, miles of historic trails, and the whole family loves the pool at Ross Park. Now, are we gonna have to watch your vacation slides all night?
This was supposed to be a party.
Well, this isn't my vacation. I live here.
Ooh.
The next time you need electrical work, whether it be commercial or residential, you need to call Huffman Electrical Contractors. A company that's been in business for over 35 years. They've served clients not only locally in the Birmingham area and all over the state, but have clients outside the state of Alabama as well. Whether it's a new building or remodeling an older building or home, they can handle the job for you. Once again, that's Huffman Electrical Contractors. The number to call is 205-661-5005. That's 205-661-5005. Where at Huffman Electrical Contractors, a satisfied customer is always their number 1 objective.
Take your taste to a different place. It's the taste of hamburger heaven. A taste of heaven is always best. Now you know that you're blessed. Give your taste a whole new spin. Bring your friends and come on in. Take your taste to a different place. It's the taste of hamburger heaven.
Land of Frost Premium is America's best-selling 1-pound deli pouch, now available in 12 delicious flavors, including new flavors of mesquite turkey and cotto salami. High school athletes across the country ask for Land of Frost by name. These great items are available at your local grocer, including Piggly Wiggly, Food Giant, Western supermarkets, and many more. Land of Frost also makes other varieties of lunch meats, including deli shaved bistro and sub sandwich kits. Land of Frost is a proud sponsor of youth sports as well. And folks, welcome back. In this first segment, we'll be visiting with Coach Drew Gilmer of the Clay-Chalkville Cougars. Coach, always good to see you.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
And as we get ready and get to start in our interview, tell us a little bit about your background and what has led you to be the head coach there at Clay.
Yeah, well, I started off my coaching career at my old high school, my old stomping grounds, Pinson Valley. And so I coached there for a couple of years. On the offense side of the football, did quarterbacks, was offensive coordinator for a year, and then I moved over the valley to Clay-Chalkville, and for Coach Hood with his second year there, and has been there ever since, and just kind of worked my way through offensive side of the football, defensive side of the football, special teams, and then to where we're at today.
Well, I know that you've got one of the better teams in the Birmingham-Jefferson County area, and as I talked about in the opening, there are a lot of good teams from here in the Birmingham-Jefferson County area in classification 7A through 5A that a lot of them are going to be qualifying for the playoffs and maybe going very deep. And your team, one loss is all so far this year, what, 6-1?
Yes, sir.
And so playing very well, and your one loss was to an undefeated team by 2 points, 34-32, I believe. And so y'all are right there. You and Pinson Valley, your team in Pinson Valley, two of the better teams here in the Birmingham-Jefferson County area, Class 6A in particular. Coach, tell us a little bit about your team, especially talk about the offense, defense, specialty teams, and what their makeup is this year.
Yeah, well, we start off kind of defensively. We've got a veteran defense. We have a lot of guys that have played a lot of games. A lot of them started all last year for us, and so we took our lumps a little bit last year with some young guys, but we really have a lot of experience defensively. They've kind of gelled together. It's really a good group, and then offensively, it's kind of taken us a little bit to kind of find our identity, and but has really done a good job. Willie Miller's back as a quarterback, so that brings a whole dynamic to the offense. And then our offensive line has done a really good job of kind of working as a unit. And then you got some skill guys, and Quentin Young back healthy, Curtis Blakely at the running back position, Terrell Cole, Roderick McLeod, Logan Pruitt at receiver, who brings some experience and some skill sets to the offense. So it's a unique group that we've kind of found our identity, and it's kind of trying to develop it a little bit more. And then special teams is basically a mixture of all those guys. We take our starters, our best players, put them on special teams, and hopefully we can win a game or the turnover battle or the field position with putting our best guys on special teams.
Well, I know it sounds like from talking to you that your team, you're fortunate enough you got experience there. Where you've had an injury or two along the way, you've had people that can come in and step in and do the job. One thing that we talk about with head coaches a lot of times, and maybe we don't give them enough credit, is talk about your staff, the continuity of it. Have you got a staff that's some of the coaches have been with you a while? Because I know that's very important to you. And the bad thing about it is sometimes you have outstanding assistant coaches, and if you do, you have to battle sometimes to keep them because a lot of them become eligible for head coaches somewhere else. So talk about your staff, the continuity of it, and how long maybe you've been with some of your coaches.
Yeah, well, with me taking over this year, we've got a lot of new faces. But some of the familiar faces is on the defensive side of the ball. Sean Talsma, we've been together ever since I've gotten to Clay. And he's been the defense coordinator the whole time and does an outstanding job. So that was an easy transition. I worked for Sean, and so really we were just able to kind of keep that thing rolling. And then also on that side of the football, you got Curtis Coleman, who is, in my opinion, one of the greatest coaches in the country. And so with all of his experience and knowledge as a head coach, as a coordinator, as an assistant coach, he's been invaluable, not only to our staff, but to me personally. And then, you had a younger guy, in Eddie Wall, who was our head 9th grade football coach that we brought up, and he's now coaching our D-line. And then on the offensive side of the football, really the only person that you got back was our offensive line coach, Coach Ellis. And then, we hired Coach Clemens, John Clemens from Pinson Valley. He came over and is the offensive coordinator for us. And then we hired some familiar faces with, Jake Hibbs, Kent Underwood, Nick Andrews, and Gene Richardson. And several of those guys came over from Pinson. So a lot of new faces.
Well, I was going to say, too, if most of these new faces you talk about and they can blend in with the staff that you've already had, you're getting people that you wanted.
Right.
And even though there's not a lot of experience as far as on the coaching staff, then that gives you a chance to build with those new coaches and mesh with the older ones. So it sounds like you're in a good position as far as the coaching staff is concerned.
Yeah, we are. We're extremely blessed.
And I know we don't talk about this much, but every once in a while we like to talk about the fact that the people in administration there, how they support your athletic programs and how the community, I got a little view of it the other night.
Right.
You have great fan support. And I mean, it takes all of them. You got to have the outstanding coaching staff and athletes, and then the administration, and then you put your neighborhood that gets behind you like that. It makes Friday nights a special event for you and your school, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It does. And with Jefferson County, with Dr. Pouncey and Ken Story, our athletic director, and then Michael Lee, our principal, it doesn't get any better than that, plain and simple. And then also with our support from our city, with Mayor Webster and Ronnie Dixon, the things that our city is able to do for our school makes it a unique place.
When this is almost a question that I don't need to ask, but the thing about it is your team has played so well up to this point in the season, but every head coach wants his team to peak closer you get to playoffs.
Right.
First of all, you got two things you want to do. You want to make sure you secure one of those 4 spots, preferably the first and second, where you get that first round game at home, which is always a good thing. But the thing about it is you want your best football to be played when the times get there for it to be played, and that's always playoff time. So is that sort of how you try to gear your teams and make sure that they're peaking at the right time?
You know that's always your goal, but really through the process, you know, it is really, can we get our guys to be better than they were the day before?
Right.
You know, and if we can really focus on that, then I think you allow that to happen.
Well, I tell you what, Coach, the few minutes we have will fly by, and first of all, I want to say good to see you, and congratulations on the outstanding season you had thus far. And I know that you are hoping that you and your kids keep going in this direction. You peak at the right time, and that's when playoffs are, because you never can tell. You make it to the playoffs, funny things, the ball bounces funny ways sometimes, and we may bounce into another state championship. Yeah, it's every coach's goal along with their athletes, and if should something like that happen, it would be wonderful. We'll come back here and we'll let you bring the trophy and we'll celebrate together, okay?
Well, we'll see what happens.
But listen, awfully good to see you. Good luck the rest of the year, and you never can tell. Maybe you guys will make a serious run at that championship.
Well, we appreciate it, and thank you for having us.
And folks, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to be visiting with 4 gentlemen very instrumental in the outstanding season the Cougars have had thus far. We'll be right back. The next time you need electrical work, whether it be commercial or residential, you need to call Huffman Electrical Contractors, a company that's been in business for over 35 years. They've served clients not only locally in the Birmingham area and all over the state, but have clients outside the state of Alabama as well. Whether it's a new building or remodeling an older building or home, they can handle the job for you. Once again, that's Huffman Electrical Contractors. The number to call is 205-661-5005. That's 205-661-5005. Where at Huffman Electrical Contractors, a satisfied customer is always their #1 objective.
At Andrew Sports Medicine, we partner with our patients, trying to help them overcome the obstacles that keep them from achieving their goals.
This practice aggressively pursues victory over injury, over pain, over limitation, over anything that's going to keep you from being the best you can be.
It starts with our non-surgical physicians who are trained in sports medicine and orthopedic injuries. We have specialists in sports medicine with shoulders, elbows, and knees. We have hip specialists that do only hip surgery, including arthroscopy, minimally invasive resurfacing, and total hip replacement if needed. We have joint replacement surgeons. We have spine surgeons. We have surgeons that specialize in foot and ankle surgery and in hand surgery. So just about all the specialties of orthopedics are covered at Andrew Sports Medicine.
What makes the great surgeons great is their volume of experience at making decisions, whether that's intraoperative decisions, post-operative decisions, pre-operative decisions, the decision to operate on somebody or not operate on them. And so our volume here breeds good decision making. That gives us an edge in terms of making decisions for our patients, which ultimately is a lot of times the difference between success and failure. The teams, the players, the parents have confidence in us because they know we're going to communicate with them. We're going to create a plan unique to that athlete or that person, and we're going to get them back to their thing and as quickly and as safely as we can.
At Andrew Sports Medicine, our mission is to partner with our patients and to help them succeed and achieve victory. Whether you're a weekend warrior, a grandparent with a shoulder problem, or a professional athlete, you get the same care, the same high-level technology, the same aggressiveness that we would in a professional athlete, and we treat everyone the same way. None of us like to lose. We're all very competitive, and we're not going to lose against their illness or their injury.
Have you had that Mexican food fix yet? If you haven't, then Speedy's is the place to go. Located in Hueytown, 1 block off Warrior River Road on Forest Road, you can call in your order or go through the drive-thru or dine in as our family and friends do on a regular basis. For everything from nachos to enchiladas to taco salads, you can't beat the taste of Speedy's Mexican food. Remember, that's the original Speedy's is back and better than ever. To phone in the order or for more information, the number to call is 744-4659. That's Speedy's Mexican Foods.
The community features a world-class resort and spa, the amazing Robert Trent Jones Trail Golf Course, miles of historic trails, and the whole family loves the pool at Ross Park. No, are we gonna have to watch your vacation slides all night?
This was supposed to be a party.
Well, this isn't my vacation. I live here.
Ooh.
And folks, as you can tell, I got 4 outstanding young athletes here. The Clay-Chalkville Cougars off to just a one-loss season thus far. So they've had a great season, had a big win this past Friday night against Gardendale. And so sitting closest to me, and all these athletes are juniors. First of all, we got Jack Jones, offensive lineman, right?
Yes, sir.
And then Willie Miller, quarterback. Yes, sir. And Andrew Ransall, defensive back.
Yes, sir.
Right? And then Jalen Mack, also a defensive back.
Yes, sir.
All right, now guys, going into this season, we'll start with you, Jack. As you headed into this year, did you think that you and your teammates would have the type year that you've had thus far? Did you expect to be this good this far into the season?
Well, we worked hard in the summer, and I mean, I think we were going to have a good season this year.
Well, now I tell you one thing that would go a long way in what kind of team you have, and Willie, you being the quarterback, a lot of times team chemistry is a very important thing. If you and your teammates get along, 2 things happen. One, you can be better as an individual and better as a team. So with that thought in mind, talk about the team chemistry you and you guys have. Y'all have been very successful thus far this year, and do you think that that's been a big part of it?
Yes, sir, because like we always hang around with each other during the weekend a lot, and then in practice we have fun. Like we just don't be so serious all the time. We just have fun and just go out there and practice. So
what you're telling me is you have fun, but there's a time to be serious, right? Andrew, one question that I'll ask you. When you see that schedule pop up, is there a team on there that you look forward to playing more than another team?
This year, like as a whole?
Yeah.
Pinson.
Pinson?
Pinson.
Well, now, I got a feeling the reason that might be a couple of things. One, they're pretty close to where y'all are. 2, they're pretty good. And so you look forward to those teams that are pretty good on a schedule because you probably know a lot of their players, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so it's sort of like a neighborhood rivalry, so to speak, right? Jalen, how about you? Being a defensive back, do you get more fun out of making a big hit or picking off a pick 6? What do you enjoy most about your position?
For me, I like the pick 6.
Really?
Yeah, I like the pick 6.
Anytime we put points on the board, that's a momentum changer for everybody, isn't it? Well, guys, you know, athletes, we're sort of a strange bunch. I played ball way back in my day. That's way back in the day. And we're a superstitious bunch. And we think we got to do things a certain way, this, that, and other. And so with that thought in mind, and we'll start with you, Jack, do you have any superstitions or anything that you have to do the same way to make you think, well, I'm going to play better if I do this?
No, sir. I just put the pads on and play my best.
Well, all right. An offensive lineman, do you get, which is the easiest, and maybe neither one of them is easy. Is it easier to pass block or run block for you?
I like the run block because, I like to hit people.
Yeah, well, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. I imagine you're one of these linemen, every once in a while, if you get to put on that pancake block, so to speak. In other words, you want somebody to know that they got their work cut out for them, right?
Yes, sir.
Willie, how about you? You got any superstitions or what? You don't. You just get out there and play, right?
Just get out there and play and have fun.
Okay, man. Andrew, how about you?
Music.
Do what?
I try to listen to music before the game.
Really? Okay.
Get one song stuck in my head.
Same people or different people?
Most of the time, it's the same song on repeat.
Okay. But you just want to get into a right mindset for you, and music helps you do it, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, how about you, Jalen?
I just like listening to my same songs over and over again.
Yeah.
I should have my special juice.
Okay. Well, now, guys, and Jack, we'll start with you being an offensive lineman. Is there a collegiate or pro offensive lineman that you watch and you think, boy, that's the kind of game I want to have?
I watch a lot of college football and pro football. I like to watch a lot of O-lines, and I just try to be like them.
Alabama or Auburn fan?
Alabama.
Bless you, child. And these other people, we pray for them, because they need it.
Yes, sir.
Well, they think we need it, though, too, so that works both ways.
Yeah.
Willie, how about you? There's got to be a quarterback out there that you think, that my game, I want to play that way.
Jalen Hurts.
Really? Well, the biggest thing about his game that I have found in the year, a little over a year that he's been doing it, is consistency. I mean, you want to be consistent and like always be in control of the moment, So that's good. If you're cool and collected, believe me, the teammates pick up on that. And they feel a whole lot easier following somebody that's under control than somebody that may be wondering, what do I do next, Because you're the man. You're the one they look to for that guidance. Andrew, how about you? Is there in your case, a defensive back that pro or college that you like to perform like?
Josh Norman.
Who?
Josh Norman.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, okay. If you're half as good as he is, you're going to be special for us, so you know that, don't you?
Yes, sir.
How about you, Jalen?
Jabril Peppers and Richard Sherman.
Oh, okay. Well, let me tell you, being defensive players, we're talking about you guys on the defensive side there, defensive backs, and this holds true. If the defense can play well and you hold somebody down, your offense could be having an off night. But as long as the defense keeps you in there, you always got a chance to win. So, I mean, as the old saying goes, the other team don't score. You got, and I'm sure the defense plays this way. Every game you want to shut people out, because if you do, you're going to win. But a lot of times the ball games have ebb and flows, and a lot of times the defense can control a lot of that, give the offense more chances to get your job done, right? Mm-hmm. Well, now, when your playing days in high school are over, I hope each and every one of you get to go to college and pursue a career. Jack, we'll start with you, and I know you've got another year to go, but have you got any idea, like when you go to school now, if you could go to any college you wanted to, where would you pick to go?
Troy.
Troy? Is there a certain, do you know what you'd like to do if maybe it's not be a professional lineman one day? What would is there any thought in your mind what you want?
No, sir, I don't know yet.
You don't know? Well, that's what school and time is all about, to try to find that out. Willie, how about you? You got any idea what you might want to do down the road?
No, sir.
Still too early, right? So that might be a bad question to ask the junior, but oddly enough, a lot of times I ask this question and then those young gentlemen know, this is what I'm going to do when I go to college. If it's not play pro ball, I want to do this or that. Andrew, you got any idea yet?
I've been looking into sports management and marketing.
Oh, okay.
stuff like that.
Yeah, in other words, you want to be involved in sports somehow.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this. You ever thought about maybe, hey, one day I might be a coach? Do you think you could coach or would rather be in another aspect of it?
Nah, I don't have the patience like Gilman.
Really? Well, let me tell you this. The reason I asked that question is 9 out of 10 coaches just about, if you ask them, did you start out to be a coach? They say, no, I never thought it would be that way. Some of the best in the business, that's what they ended up doing was coaching. Jalen, how about you? You got any idea?
Sports management or either being a professional welder.
Being what?
A professional welder.
Oh, okay, okay. In other words, you work with your hands. Yeah, okay. Well, I tell you what, guys, time gets by very quickly. The last question I always like to ask young athletes this. Jack, to this point in your life, who's been the most inspirational person or persons?
My mom and my dad, they're always there for me.
Well, that's good. Willie, how about you?
My dad.
Your dad? Okay. Andrew?
My granddad.
Okay. And how about you, Jalen?
My mom.
Your mom? Yeah, moms are always there for us, right? Well, let me tell you what, guys, you've had a great season so far, a really good season. The only way we make it a whole lot better, one, is keep winning, and two, maybe instead, I tell you what to do, I'll give you guys a challenge. Y'all win a championship, we'll replace that helmet with a trophy, and we'll come back and celebrate together, okay?
Yes, sir.
Listen, I wish you all the luck in the world. Y'all had a fantastic game against Gardendale the other night. Who you got next week?
Carver.
Carver, okay. So keep this season rolling. And like I was telling the coach, peak at the end of the season when the playoffs get there, good things will happen to you down the road, okay?
Yes, sir.
And so, folks, we'll take a quick break. We'll get back and we'll have more guests. Don't you go away. We'll be right back. The next time you need electrical work, whether it be commercial or residential, you need to call Huffman Electrical Contractors, a company that's been in business for over 35 years. They've served clients not only locally in the Birmingham area and all over the state, but have clients outside the state of Alabama as well. Whether it's a new building or remodeling an older building or home, they can handle the job for you. Once again, that's Huffman Electrical Contractors. The number to call is 205-661-5005. That's 205-661-5005. Where at Huffman Electrical Contractors, a satisfied customer is always their number one objective.
The community features a world-class resort and spa, the amazing Robert Trent Jones Trail Golf Course, miles of historic trails, and the whole family loves the pool at Ross Park. No, are we gonna have to watch your vacation slides all night?
This was supposed to be a party.
Well, this isn't my vacation. I live here.
Ooh.
And this will be your premium right here.
Sorry to interrupt. I just want to say I combined home and auto with State Farm.
Saved $760.
Love this guy.
Okay, does it bother anybody else that the mime is talking? Freaky.
Bundle home and auto, and you could save $760.
That's 760 very good reasons to call Alan Gurdeau in Trussville today.
Land of Frost Premium is America's best-selling one-pound deli pouch, now available in 12 delicious flavors, including new flavors of mesquite turkey and cotto salami. High school athletes across the country ask for Land of Frost by name. These great items are available at your local grocer, including Piggly Wiggly, Food Giant, Western supermarkets, and many more. Land of Frost also makes other varieties of lunch meats, including deli shaved bistro and sub sandwich kits. Land of Frost is a proud sponsor of youth sports as well. And folks, welcome back in this segment of Andrew Sports Medicine. Our visit here, we're going to be visiting with Dr. Benton Emblem, who is a hip and pelvis specialist. Doctor, awfully good to see you.
Good to see you.
And as we get this interview started with you, tell us a little bit about your background. First of all, were you an athlete in high school, and did that sort of lead you into medicine, or how did you end up where we are today?
I was, and I would tell you that probably most of our partners played some sports growing up, and that's really kind of what led to their interest in sports medicine. It goes for other disciplines within sports medicine as well, therapy, athletic training, etc. But yes, I did play sports. I played multiple sports. Actually sustained an injury that did require surgery, which really kind of confirmed my destination spot in terms of what I wanted to do. But I did grow up here in Alabama and did most of my training here, and then did a sports medicine fellowship here with Dr. Andrews, Dr. Dugas, and Dr. Kane, and then furthered my training with hip arthroscopy and hip preservation surgery up with Dr. Bird in Nashville.
When it comes to the sports medicine, what, and it may not matter, but is there a certain sport that you see patients come from than others?
Well, I mean, there are definitely some correlations with injury types and sports, but in terms of what I do relative to the hip and pelvis, obviously we see a lot of football-related injuries here in this part of the country. There is a large association with hockey injuries in the hip and pelvis, and believe it or not, even in the South, we do see some hockey. There's some local hockey clubs, so we see some hockey-related injuries. Soccer has become very prevalent in the South, and there are a lot of hip injuries associated with soccer, really any sport. I mean, there's really no, unfortunately for the athletes, there are no sports that are safe in terms of injury.
And also the dance, you know, not just the athletes that wear numbers. You see a fair number of dance athletes, and we work with the Alabama Ballet and all the dance teams for all, and the cheerleaders from all the teams. I mean, I can't count the number of dance line and cheerleading and athletes like that you've seen that I've talked to you about. So.
Absolutely, the dance aspect of medicine and cheer, which is nothing like it was when Jeff and I were growing up. You know, cheer itself has become such a popular team competitive sport, and you know, the more of those we see in terms of that are participate in those sports, the more of those we see. But Jeff's right, dance medicine has become a hot field of study in terms of sports medicine, and exactly, they don't necessarily have to wear a number to be under our care.
Has it surprised you as longer as you've been in the practice? Has it surprised you how fast treatments change, or you basically do the same thing? You know, there's always they're coming up with new ideas, new techniques. Does that happen in your field as well?
Certainly, and that's what Jeff and myself and my other partners really take pride in being a part of, is innovating those new techniques and experimenting with different surgical implants and aspects within surgery. You know, Dr. Andrews has always said, if you're thinking about what you were doing the day before, you're not growing. So we really base our practice on that change.
One thing I wonder if you run into this, because it seems like a moot point, but yet I experience it a lot, and I see other people. Do you have patients come to you that they would have probably gotten better a whole lot quicker, or their injury wouldn't have got as severe had they come earlier? People seem to always want to procrastinate a lot. Do you have that in your field as well?
Well, I do. In terms of hip-related sports medicine, in years past, there was just really nothing for it, you know, and a lot of the patients that I saw when I first started practice, thankfully, in terms of the vision that Jeff had and Dr. Andrews, in terms of the hip and the need for someone to kind of take that on and figure out how to provide care for those types of patients. When I first started practice, I had just a standing room only in terms of a waiting room of patients that were wanting to come in to have their hip examined, because there was really nothing to offer that back, you know, 10 years, 15 years ago. But nowadays, absolutely, we're able to diagnose problems and treat them so much differently than it would have been in years past, that it's made a tremendous impact in return to play, return to work, return to quality of life, what have you.
I was going to say, when it comes to the type of people that you end up seeing, is it more work-related people or athletic
It's both.
type work?
It's both. I mean, it's, you know, we really enjoy the sports medicine aspect side of things because of the question you asked earlier. You know, we all played sports and enjoy being on a team, but the reality is, you know, we treat everybody the same, whether you work on a ladder or work on a football field. So, you know, we don't have preference for an athlete versus an active person. So we welcome all of those, and we see them all and enjoy taking care of them.
You know, Snapper, I got to say, Benton was the first fellow since Lyle and I started the practice that we invited to stay in the practice. So he's now an integral part of our training program with the fellows, so they all rotate with him. He's the only other one besides Lyle and I that they rotate with. So Benton is an integral part of the fellowship training. And he does general sports medicine, not just the hip and pelvis stuff. But we brought him in, and he is really one of the world leaders in hip arthroscopy and minimally invasive hip techniques. He's developed a technique for fixing hamstring injuries that he can do through the scope. Nobody else even thought about doing that, and Benton kind of pioneered that. He also figured out how to fix sports hernias, and that maybe it's not a hernia at all. It looks more like it's a tendon injury. And through some research that Benton did, he's been able to kind of get these guys back. It's been amazing to me to see how he has innovated hip and pelvis stuff. And so my question to you is, I mean, especially on the sports hernia stuff and some of those real innovative things, has the general population of people changed how they think about that? Because, I mean, 15 years ago, nobody knew what a sports hernia was, and now it's like household knowledge. What do you see when you see these people? How do they come in and talk to you about it?
Right. You know, we've done a very good job over the years of educating physician extenders in terms of athletic trainers and physical therapists, and they've really helped us get the word out, not only just to attract patients, but to help with accurate diagnosis. And Jeff's exactly right. You know, 10 years ago, if someone had a sports hernia, which we heard about back then, it was like having a UCL in a pitcher 20 years ago. It was just kind of the end of your career. I mean, I remember a lot of running backs when I was in middle school and high school that had their career ended because of a sports hernia. And now with a lot of the research that we've recently done here we're currently submitting for publication, we've shown that these injuries that used to end careers now enable careers within 12 weeks. So that's quite a turnaround from hanging the jersey up to just getting it washed.
Well, one question that I want to ask you that seems maybe like a dumb question, but as the old saying goes, if you don't know the answer to it, it's not a dumb question. But I know you probably worked on a lot of famous people, athletes in particular. When these people first come in that have the reputation and the careers that they have, is it intimidating a little bit to you, or the other way around? I mean, you should be intimidating them because you're going to help them fix them, not the other way around.
I'll tell you, first time I was ever around any, stars or professional athletes is when I was a fellow, and I quickly learned that these guys are very humble when they come to see us, because their career's on the line. You got to remember, they put their shoes on just like everybody else does, and their careers are on the line, and they're nervous and want to be helped. So they don't come in with this pompous attitude that causes us to be nervous or anxious. Right. It does force you to be more meticulous and think about things in a little bit more kind of checks and balances type process, just because there are such repercussions in terms of if things were to go wrong or the diagnosis was incorrect. But we really take a lot of pride in treating everybody that way, so we don't think about it any differently no matter who it is.
Well, I tell you what, I can tell from the words that Jeff has said, they're awfully tickled to have you here on board as a part of the team, and it seems like you definitely are a positive asset. It's awfully good to meet you and find out what you're doing to help not only athletes but the common person that comes in that has a problem. Yeah. And so we look forward to maybe visiting with you down the road.
Well, that'd be
great. All the luck in the world.
We'll keep you updated.
Okay, and awfully good to meet you.
Well, thank you.
Folks, we're going to take a quick break. We come back, we'll visit with another doctor, and we'll go in a different direction. You'll have to find out how and where when we come back. We'll be right back.
You know that you're blessed. Give your taste a whole new spin. Bring your friends.
the community features a world-class resort and spa, the amazing Robert Trent Jones Trail Golf Course, miles of historic trails, and the whole family loves the pool at Ross Park. No, are we gonna have to watch your vacation slides all night?
This was supposed to be a party.
Well, this isn't my vacation. I live here.
Ooh.
The next time you need electrical work, whether it be commercial or residential, you need to call Huffman Electrical Contractors, a company that's been in business for over 35 years. They've served clients not only locally in the Birmingham area and all over the state, but have clients outside the state of Alabama as well. Whether it's a new building or remodeling an older building or home, they can handle the job for you. Once again, that's Huffman Electrical Contractors. The number to call is 205-661-5005. That's 205-661-5005. Where at Huffman Electrical Contractors, a satisfied customer is always their #1 objective. And folks, our last guest has joined us in this segment from Andrew Sports Medicine. We're talking about Dr. Norman Waldrop, whose specialist is foot and ankle. Dr. Waldrop, awfully good to meet you.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
And the one question I enjoy asking these doctors is, one, were you an athlete growing up? And if you were, was maybe an injury or the aspect of helping other people, maybe what led you down this road to become a doctor?
I actually was an athlete growing up, but some people may argue that. Actually, though, that is actually not what got me interested in medicine. My dad defends doctors for a living. He's an attorney, and all his friends were physicians. And I found that I was much more interested in the medicine than I was the law. And as I got into it, I realized that most of the guys that were in orthopedics, ladies too, are more my speed, my type of personality. And so that's what drew me to orthopedics in particular.
Well, now, in your practice thus far, foot and ankle, what sports athlete seems to be coming to you more?
Well, really, it's all across the board. Certainly football jumps to mind, and that is more of probably the numbers in general, but it's really across the board. I mean, it's from football to soccer. Soccer is a very common sport in which I see a lot of athletes. Cheerleading, gymnasts, basketball. It really is across the gamut. Most of the cutting, jumping sports are more in the world of foot and ankle, but really across the board.
Does it sort of amaze you that the difference in today's athlete physically as to 15, 20 years ago with the speed and the quickness and the strength that they have, and they hit one another with that, and it's a wonder somebody don't get killed instead of injured.
I might have to defer to the 15, 20 years ago answer to my partner over here. It's in my relatively short time here, though the number's growing quickly. I feel like I started yesterday. I've been here 5 years. It's amazing to see how they get bigger and stronger and faster. And every year we say, man, this group looks bigger and stronger and faster than last year. And they are, and they continue to grow. Now, from our standpoint, they're healthy, they're active, they're motivated, and the athletes and the motivated patients tend to heal and do well.
And the thing about it, though, and we'll look at football in particular, it doesn't matter how good a condition you're in, no matter how new the equipment is, better it is, it still don't keep people from getting hurt. The physical activities that we do is the football player probably more you see football players, or like you say, it's across the board, but in generality?
I don't know if it's more in football, if the ratios anymore, they're more football players. I mean, you have 100 guys on a football team versus 13 on a basketball team, et cetera. I think the basketball players and the volleyball players and the gymnasts probably get hurt just as often, but you got a larger group of patients in football. And you know, to me, it doesn't matter. All comers. You know, we're here to help everybody. So doesn't matter who they are. We're here for them.
Norm, you know, we've talked with Kathleen and Benton. Kathleen, hand specialist, Benton, hip and pelvis, all sports medicine. You're our foot and ankle stud. You know, this practice, we treat them all, you know, athletes and workers, guys that climb ladders and guys that climb, you know, linemen. Tell me about, from your perspective, being the foot and ankle guy, you know, how important is it to you in this practice that you have a niche and you have that foot and ankle background, and how is that different? What did you do when you came into the practice? We were watching you, and we're still watching you do things that amaze us that we didn't even see 20 years ago, and how cutting edge the stuff is that you're doing. Give us some examples of that and how important it is in a sports medicine practice to have somebody that specializes in that hand and wrist, pelvis, back, foot and ankle, all that stuff.
No question. Well, first of all, one of the things that drew me to foot and ankle is that I get to take care of kids all the way up to the elderly. So I get to see the gamut. You know, in this practice in particular, obviously we see a lot of young, healthy people, but we certainly don't limit it to that. My interest in foot and ankle actually grew out of not only that, but sports foot and ankle is such a young subspecialty in and of itself, and it's a niche that I saw a great opportunity to try to really blaze my own trail, if you will, because there are very few guys out there who really do it and do it well. The numbers out there are surprisingly small. A lot of generalists, a lot of sports trained guys who are more interested in the knee and the shoulder take care of a lot of the foot and ankle injuries, and oftentimes they were getting kind of, I don't know if ignored or swept under the rug, but maybe not thought of in the same light. And I saw that as an opportunity to really immerse myself into it and learn more about it and see if there are ways, you know, that we can improve how they're getting taken care of, patients are getting taken care of, and how we can get them better.
That. I mean, we wanted your training. We didn't want a general sports medicine doc doing our foot and ankle stuff. We wanted somebody with that specialized training to do that. So how has it changed for you? I mean, compared to what we did 20 years ago when we were training, I mean, I'm watching you get these guys back in 3-4 weeks, where before it was 3-4 months. I mean, what's changed technology-wise and understanding-wise?
Absolutely. I mean, things like the high ankle sprain, which is one of the things that I guess that I've been attached to out in the world. The high ankle sprain was a very misunderstood injury for a long time, and we've developed some technologies, particularly one of the instruments that I'm using called the tightrope, that allows guys to get back much faster. We're able to put them through accelerated rehab techniques and physical therapy and get them going real fast. And we've had guys play 2 weeks out from injuries that in the past would sideline them for 3 months. Turf toe. Turf toe is another injury that many, I mean, has ended many careers. Yeah. And we're getting guys back 3 and 4 months out from pretty debilitating injuries, and a lot of that is advanced surgical techniques. A lot of that is our job, our communication with the therapists and the trainers, which is a very integral part of what we do, and sort of pushing the envelope. And we're finding, you know, patients do better when we get them going quickly.
So now that you've been here for 5 years and become an integral part of the practice, Norm is one of the managing partners now. He's the youngest managing partner. What's your take on the practice now that you've been here for 5 years in the city of Birmingham and sports medicine? And you know, you're an up-and-comer in the sports medicine world. You've kind of made it. What do you see in the sports medicine world, and what's your take on the life in this practice and where we're going?
Well, life in this practice is awesome. I was fortunate to get the job, I guess, but I tell you, when you're on the inside, it's even better. You know, people see us, see the name, and you travel to California or Seattle speaking, and people see the Andrews name, and they're maybe intimidated. I can't believe you work there, et cetera. But when you're actually a part of it, we all love what we do. We like each other. We get along. We're all pulling in the same direction. And I can't tell you how fortunate we are to have that. And when you do that, you treat patients better. The patients are happier. It creates a good environment. And out the other end are happy, healthy patients who get back to doing what they
Seems
like to do.
One of the terms I use a lot in talking to coaches and kids is y'all are young athletes. Y'all have great team chemistry.
We do. We do. I mean, it's people wonder, you know, how can y'all make it work? It's easy because we like each other and we're all pulling in the same direction. And
we got great people that are really good at what they do. We can't be good at everything. You know, Norm can't be good at spine surgery and hand surgery and foot and ankle surgery. We don't all try to be that. So we've got people that are really good at what they do, and Norm is a stud of a foot and ankle surgeon.
People ask me all the time, hey, you know, could you do an ACL surgery or could you do a shoulder surgery? Sure, I was trained on that stuff, but when I have partners who are some of the best in the world at it, that's not fair to the patient. And so, you know, when you have partners who have found their niche, like Dr. Emblem, who's so awesome around the hip, and Dr. Dugas, who can take care of any knee and shoulder injury. I mean, you know, why would you not want your family members in those hands?
Well, I tell you what, Dr. Walter, sounds like you found your spot too, and that's awfully good because Jeff, first of all, good to see you again.
Great
Always
to see you,
is.
Snapper. Thank you.
We'll have to do this again. I've really enjoyed it. The thing I enjoy the most is the information we can get out to our viewers, and that's the most important thing we can do right now. And awfully good to be with you guys, and we'll do it again. Okay?
Thank you, Snapper. Thanks for having us.
Folks, we appreciate the doctors for spending some time with us and giving you guys out there some quality information how you can be helped in injuries of all types in your life. And we'll have to do it again, and we will. But till we see you again, you know what the Snapper always says. Bicycle.